Today I'm coming in hot, so look out. I'm coming in a little bit feisty today. All right, I'm getting a little bit bored with street photography and where it's currently at the moment and where I perceive it's going next. Personally, I consider myself a photojournalist, not so much a street photographer, but street photography is potent in all of my work as a photojournalist throughout my entire career. However, I rarely see journalism in street photography, and today let me state my case before you tune out this old and what you might think angry dude. I'm not, I'm a pretty happy dude. About what I think's wrong with it and how I think we can change it. So first, just sort of envision this. Does this sound familiar to you? Recipe for most street photography online. Black and white, film for bonus points, sure. Grainy, check. High contrast, pockets of light exposed for that light, and the midtones and shadow detail completely eliminated. Subject small in the frame, walking through that light, probably shot with a 35mm, of course. And now let's top that all off by shooting through a puddle or take out your iPhone and shoot through that and create a reflection shot. Ooh, so creative, high fives all around. And that's pretty much what you see out there. Or another option, another recipe, if you will. Maybe you're daring enough to shoot color, you rebel, and you take the path of like the juxtaposition way of street photography, like balloons or objects where heads should be, an old person sitting next to a young person, ironic signage situation like an older person passing through past a younger brand, or you could go like the poor or rich combo, which a lot of people do, or you could take like my least favorite option, which is like letting the signage do the heavy lifting of a picture. Like, ooh, you're a photographer, not a writer. Am I guilty of some of these in my photography? Occasionally, yeah, hell yeah. Are you guys guilty of it? My God, are you guys guilty of it? This is what I see all the time. So whoa, dude, take it easy. What gives? Like some of these legends that you're talking about, they're on like the Mount Rushmore of street photography, and they've built their careers following these recipes. Yes, they did, but you didn't, and you aren't them, and neither are like these latest, like lesser versions of these photographers that are popularized by YouTube or Instagram. And what stood the test of time of those legendary photographers like Elliot Erwitt and like way too many others to mention here is that their images had all that mastery, all that recipe I was talking about, all that technique, but they also had emotion in their photos. Their photos made you feel something about life. They had soul, they had character, and they had characters in their images. And I'm just not seeing a ton of that anymore. Their work is legendary because it made you feel something other than like, oh, cool shot. I wonder how they did that. But now, like the new generation of these popular street photographers are just like lesser versions of those other photographers. They're lesser versions, just mastering those legends, their technique, but lacking their actual soul. Wow, that sounds harsh, but I believe it to be true for the most part. There are some exceptions to the rules there, and I'll let whoever's watching this that thinks they're one of those lesser versions think they're that and not one of the bad versions I'm talking about. That saves me, right? But yeah, they got the gear, they got the time, they get the following, and that following is spawning a generation of soulless photographers who follow the same rules and get the same shots. And it just gets worse and worse the farther removed you are from being one of the originals. But it doesn't have to be this way. At some point, study these photographers, study their work, but at some point you can break away. I'm telling you, you can. No one will put you in photography jail. I won't. And if they do put you in there, I'll bail you out. You can shoot street photography with incredible contrasting light in color. Look at Alex Webb, Suffering of Light, a master at this kind of work, a master of shooting high contrast color and layers in his photography. You can shoot with a super wide angle lens if you want. Not my thing, but you can. Hell, you can go shoot street photography with a 135 if you want. No one's gonna stop you out there. You can use a zoom. You can use a big, heavy camera if you want. It's okay if that works for you. You know what else you can do? You can have a series of images that have purpose and shot with purpose, not making some like BS story afterwards to make this into a book, saying that you shot this way because of your dark childhood or the fact that you see the world as high contrast, whatever story you're gonna make up, or isolated frames because this is an isolated, lonely world, and you're doing that because you're too lazy to get a second person in the shot or actually wait for a real moment. I see these like BS stories that are made up afterwards rather than before to sort of justify their body of work. So what's my point in saying this? Do I just want to rant? Yeah, a little bit. I'm having a rough morning. My dog's a little sick, but he's getting better. That's not really why I'm doing this. My point isn't that people that are doing this are wrong or they're bad photographers. I'm just saying it's a bit soulless. It's getting cliche. It's getting repetitive. It's a bit of copy and paste photography, if I'm being honest, which I feel like I'm doing a really good job of today. And I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments section. But the point isn't just to complain and rant. The point is to take this in a different direction. I want you guys to experiment with a theme that actually means something to you. Have a purpose in your photography. Wait for a moment. Have a why in your photography. Photography is about showing people something they've never seen before or showing them something they've seen but in a new way. I'm not seeing either of these things in the current state of street photography, or at least I'm not seeing a lot of it. Go out there, be unique, find out who you really are by letting go of trying to figure out who others are. I hope that kind of makes sense. That's it for today. That's my rant. I help people find their style in photography through my online classes. They focus on helping you find a project, working on that project, building that project, week by week, shooting, editing, going back out and shooting more. I have a whole list of online classes on my website, Askmont by Justamont. I've got a workshop in December. Check all that information out there if you want to be different in your photography, if you want to grow in your photography. Anyway, check it out, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Let's have a dialogue about this in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to have a wonderful day. See, now I'm calm.